Thank you, Chairman, Ranking Member. Mr. Reynolds, quick question. Want to jump in? Just set some context for today's hearing, and then I've got a few more questions. Overall, TANF as it exists today, what areas can we improve? Right? How do we make sure that this is an opportunity to incentivize the dignity of work? Like, just give me your quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, what I would say is we need evidence-based programs. So about right now, 22% of TANF dollars are spent on cash assistance to families. The rest are spent on other things like workforce training and so forth. Those dollars that are supporting programs need to be backed by evidence. There's tons of programs that are being developed and already have evidence behind them that they work. Let's invest in those things.
Awesome. So has anybody, as a curiosity, has anybody on the stand here, in the witness stand, has anybody ever used the theory of change model or logic model in associated with your work, right? Like, so I get really kind of geeky about this, and I think back to my old consulting days where we have the whole set. We have the inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impact, right? What are we doing to be able to move this down the value chain so we're actually measuring success as opposed to just how many hours you're working, what are you doing, what are the simple things you're doing? That's a part of it. I'm never gonna say that's not a key part of it. That's a part of the value chain, but what are we ultimately doing to move that down? I would love to just kind of hear your thoughts. Ms. Francis, the most, not that Congress isn't amazing and it's such a wonderful job, but the most impactful work I've ever done in my life was when I worked with Opportunity Youth prior to this role, and we worked with a big financial organization that was working with Youth Build. It was really trying to, find ways for opportunity youth, those that are 16 to 24-year-olds that are neither working nor in school, are actually trying to get into the workforce, and they have to find. And you're right, there's a stratified approach. Some have certain basic needs met. Some have had major tragedy, and we need to meet where they are so we can lift everybody up. What, in your opinion, can we be doing to capture the data? Because it's so important to be able to identify data and what the things we need to be monitoring so we can move down this value chain. And I'll just kind of throw that to the table. Ms. Francis, if you'd want to maybe offer some thoughts, because I know you love that stratified approach.
To capture the data, I think that we just need a better system of what our customers are actually participating in. We have vocational training, we have all these other instances, but we need, like I was saying before, if they've gone through trauma, we need a way to address that. We need a way to measure that. In where we come from, Mecklenburg County, we have social workers who assess them when they come in the door. And so we know where they're at, what their educational level is, and everything of that, and putting them in the most accurate component that will address those issues for them. But like you said, yes, we do need to come up with a better, more comprehensive way to measure what is being done by our customers.
In particular, is there anything the federal government is doing right now that actually hinders your ability to meet those individuals where they're at and help them out? I mean, was there something we should be moving away from?
The rate. I'm sorry, but yes, the rate, because it does not measure. I mean, you can job search for 86 hours for a month, but it does not measure what the customer is actually achieving. It's just a number.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes, I love your logic model. I geek out on logic models too. What I would love to see at the very end of that logic model is families' dignity restored because they're living a life outside of poverty. And to me, I've seen a lot of our partners, something that matters to me is where it's living wage income, where they have no harmful debt and they have appropriate savings and then ultimately are off of government assistance as well. I love how when Chairman LaHood talked about, opened up our hearing, he talked about people trampolining out of poverty. And as I think about my 11-year-old daughter on a trampoline, you look at a child on a trampoline and they start bouncing and then it gets higher and higher. And I think what we have to remember is when we're helping people trampoline out of poverty, they don't get to the end of that logic model overnight. They get a little better and a little better and a little better, and then they get that momentum so they can be out and free of government assistance. And so the more we can do to surround people with the supports they need to meet them where they're at today and provide them with someone who will do life with them to navigate all of this, I think can really work.
Mr. Connells, anything to add on the data perspective or in your work?
I actually agree with the other panelists. It's important to move people ultimately to impacts so that we can measure really what it was that we tried to do in the beginning. And I actually think that Congress can set the table by reframing what good looks like so that states can build anti-poverty programs instead of anti-penalty programs. It's important that we improve from where we are. A lot of things got layered in over the last couple of opportunities to sort of look at TANF and reauthorization when I was there then. There's a tremendous amount of flexibility that states have to do various things, and I think we should preserve that element, but find ways to evolve where we are on the accountability side.
And I'll just say, I think this is the really cool, neat thing about this committee and why I'm excited to be on this subcommittee is because from Ms. Gray's testimony all the way down to Mr. Collins, there is a fundamental problem. If you've ever felt like, additional income is actually going to hurt you, like we need to address that. Ms. Gray, your testimony is emotional, and I just wanted to thank you for your time and what you've given to your family. And that issue that you brought up is something that I go to my state leaders and work on, and we find ways to actually make reasonable solutions there. So thank you.
Thank you.